Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tech Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. Want to do a quick little overall recap on the day. I closed out all my positions. I was up over $1,000 during the early kind of pre-market session, right around market open. I was up like $1,200. Total of 10 orders. Did a very poor job not closing out my entire trade. $539 profit is where I'm at, right? So my daily goal is $500. I wanted to kind of talk about, I've been doing these daily recap videos, and for the past 2 weeks, I've been nothing but green, and it's been super great, right? But that's great and all to be able to like watch someone explain how they made a profit, and I think that's amazing and all. But I also think that, again, understanding kind of like the stats that 90% of traders like lose money, right? So it's not just so much focusing on how can I make money or what people that are making money are doing well, but also as a beginner, right? If you are someone that is just getting started, to not just be so obsessed about the idea of like, okay, well, how do I turn around and make this or turn something for a profit, but to also be aware of 90% of people lose money in this market. What are they doing wrong, right? What are the very common mistakes? And that's what I wanted to share. These are the three most common mistakes that I think I see a lot of newer traders make, and I've made almost every single one of these that we're going to talk about. So the first one, and this is the number one, and trust me, I can't emphasize this enough, and you guys know that I say this all the time. My biggest mistake when I was first getting started, as I see a lot of newer traders, is we become so obsessed about the idea of making money that we don't think that we're going to lose money, right? I come from a 9 to 5 background. I have a telecommunications sales-based job. Therefore, if you input a certain amount of hours, you expect an output of pay. That's just not how the stock market works. You can literally do this for years and actually not make money, but actually lose money. And it's if you have a very poor form of risk management. And that's my number one tip, right? If you're someone that's just getting started and you see that a lot of people just absolutely suck at at managing their risk, not just being so obsessed about the idea of how can I always make a profit, but to become a true professional or become very well versed with how to manage risk. If you see a lot of people, again, making that same mistake, then an edge that you can have is what if you really begin to not have a perfect form of risk management, as I don't think that there is a perfect form of anything, but it's working towards becoming as close to perfect as possible when it comes down to managing that risk. And that's still something that as time goes on, even today with my trading, I did a very poor job. DGAS was up here right around like 179 nearly. I didn't lock in my full position size. I had 250 shares of DGAS. I was up $1,200. And guess what? Natural gas began to pick up, DGAS began to pull back, and I thought because I had a small position that it didn't matter that much, and I gave back quite a bit. Again, I'm up $539, which is great, but again, it's the idea that I could have been up what I was if I simply would have locked in profit or had a better form of risk management. So again, huge focus on that. The second thing that I think a lot of people, as they're just getting started, make a mistake on is position size. And this might not be something that might make too much sense to you if you're someone that's just getting started. I can't emphasize how important this is. When you're just getting started, you should be testing the waters, right? Therefore, you're going to be making a lot of mistakes, and I don't care how well versed you are, it's bound to happen. Therefore, your position size right now as you're learning how to trade should not be something that devastates you. And there's this very cliche phrase of like, you should never put into the market what you're not okay with losing. Everyone says that, and who cares, right? I'm not focusing on that. I'm focused on the idea that when it comes down to you actually taking a trade, if you're really focused on learning how to trade, you need to understand that what you're trading with right now is not what you could be trading with 5 or 10 years down the road. Why? You don't have experience, you don't have confidence when it comes down to the trade, and you have no track record. You still do not understand what it is that you're doing. So why are you trying to make it or break it now? And one of the things that I've made, again, very often, even recently, is sometimes when your position size, and you guys can agree or disagree with me in the comments section, but one of the things that I noticed, if your position size is too large, especially very early in the day, right? If your position size is too large, you struggle to manage risk. So it goes back to rule one. So one of the things that I've noticed is that when you watch your position size and you truly allow that opportunity to present itself, and things do begin to go south, meaning that you're in the red, you need to manage your risk. If your position size is so small that it doesn't even matter, you're going to do a very great job managing your risk, because the emotional aspect when it comes down to trading is not there, right? Because again, that loss that you're just about to take is very small because your position size is very small. Again, it might not make a lot of sense, but I can almost reassure you, if you guys look back to every single time that you've taken a big trade or a big loss, right? If your position size would have been much smaller, if you would have had much less skin in the game, you probably would not have hesitated so much to cut losses. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. If you're really focused on learning how to trade, then make sure that the approach and the positions that you take are of someone that is simply learning. And one of the last things that I want to talk about is the emphasis behind having a plan, behind your entry, behind your exit, behind your risk management. This is kind of something that puts everything together. I've seen so many people, as they're just getting started, they enter a position, they don't know where they're selling, they don't know where they're going to manage their risk. They don't know what they're doing. And that is, I think, a very, very common mistake, where people enter into a very hopeful position and there is no plan. There is no plan on, hey, where am I going to lock in profits? Am I going to just let this run? And maybe if I hit $100, I'll lock it in then. It's just, you're just, throwing a ball in the air, and you have no understanding of when to catch it or where it's going. And my biggest thing is, when it comes down to learning about any market, right, there is no question that it takes time. But on top of that, you need to have structure. And this is where I see there to be a big disconnect. When you have a job, when you're in school, there's structure behind what you are doing. If you don't follow that structure, the rules and the guidelines, there are consequences. Therefore, you are bound within those lines. And people hate the 9 to 5. It's like when things are so open and so free, like when it comes down to the stock market, you can literally do whatever you want. And this freedom comes at a price. And so many people, as they're just getting started, lack structure. So one of the big focuses that I would encourage, one of the things I wish I would have had when I first got started was structure. Every single time that you're about to take a position, we talk about it time after time, and it's that ticker call out format. Know where you're buying, know where you're selling, and know where you're cutting losses, and simply stick to it. Especially if you can set up this entire plan before you enter your position, just think about how much more organized and structured you are bound to be. Something to think about, right? So I was gonna make a recap video simply talking about the trades that it took to make $539. You guys, I've seen that for the past 2 weeks and 2 days, and it hasn't been anything different. I have a big focus on direction. I make sure that the opportunity cost is worth it, and I try to go with the flow. So instead of focusing so much on how to make a profit, I want to kind of switch things around. And although I did end today on a green note, I wanted to emphasize the importance that it's not always so much focusing on what's the right thing to do, but also where a lot of people make mistakes and how to avoid them. Because it's hard to avoid mistakes that you are unaware of, or problems that you are unaware of. That's the most difficult thing, right? If you're unaware of these problems, you're going to be unaware on how to solve them. So now that you're aware about these 3 little simple mistakes that I think that we can all agree are very common, now it's up to you. Now you could either do something about it and implement some form of structure, or you can kind of go with the flow and hope for the best. So I really hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. Again, if you guys haven't joined our free Facebook group, that's going to be that first link down below. I wish you guys an amazing and blessed day. Again, friendly reminder, a goal is something to work towards, not something that you have to hit every single day. So just make sure you stay patient, stay consistent, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.